Oh yes, I remember that story. A long time ago, Grandpa flew the big airplanes. He flew and he flew. And one day, Grandpa's engine broke and he had to bail out. And his parachute opened up and he floated down to the ground, and he was all right. Then he came back home. That was the story that I told my kids before they went to bed, so they wouldn't forget their grandfather, because he had passed a few years earlier. Yes, so the real story was that Dad was a tail gunner in a B-17 during World War II. He was stationed out of Italy and flew for 11 missions. And when his 11th mission came up, that was actually D-Day. So what happened was he got shot down on D-Day after making their bomb run, and when the reports came in, there were only 3 parachutes out of a crew of 10 that the other bombers could see and report in on. So after making their bomb run, Dad happened to see parachutes coming out the back of the plane in his view. So he radioed up to see what was going on and didn't get an answer. So he made his way up to the bomb bay doors, which were open at the time, and there were no gunners, and he couldn't see anybody flying the plane actually. So he decided it was time to go, so he jumped out the bomb bay doors. So after bailing out, he could see men running to the position where they thought he was going to land. And once he did land, he landed on a rocky stream and he was knocked unconscious. The next thing he knew was that he was on the back of a peasant being carried out of the stream and wondering what was going to happen to him. All right, so there he was, surrounded by bearded men speaking another language. He wasn't sure what to do, so the only thing he could think of was to say American. And once he did that, all the men cheered and were very happy. One of them even hugged him and kissed him like he was his long-lost son. The group that found him, they were called the Chetniks, under the command of Draza Mihailovich. He was the general that was in charge of them. And that was the resistance for Yugoslavia that they've been fighting for 3 years under German occupation. So the group's objective was to get Dad to the general, and this trip was supposed to take about 7 days. So they would stay at small villages and barns, and sometimes even in the forest, and they'd move at night and sleep during the day because they were being searched out by the Germans. The trip actually took 6 weeks to get to the general. They would sometimes get within a day of the general, and the resistance fighters would find out that the general had to move because he was also being hunted by the Germans. This evacuation, since it was being done in occupied territory, needed to be done in secret, but the general was able to contact the Allied forces, like the Italians and the Americans, to coordinate this evacuation. So the evacuation took place in the middle of the night. My father said three C-47s showed up, and they were the ones that got the wounded out. They were the ones that left first. So a little later in the morning, which was still in the middle of the night, my father was on one of 6 C-47s that transported him out. And those C-47s were escorted by P-51 Mustangs. So it was a pretty well-organized mission to get these evacuees out of the country. And that's how my dad got out of Yugoslavia.